Hey guys, it's been a while, but I figured it was time for a spring garden tour before everything gets growing too crazy. There's a lot going on. I don't know if it's still spring, right? It's not summer yet. Anyway, there's a lot happening, and I'm sorry since it's been a long time since the last video, but I don't know, wasn't feeling too motivated, but figured it was time. All right, let's flip this around and I guess work our way across the garden. So this is our we should call it the back garden. We do have a front garden, but there's nothing growing there yet. It's got a big tarp down, so we can be ready. We'll get to that at another point. All right, so in our buckets here, we decided to grow. We wanted to try potatoes this year. We're at Sam's Club and we got I don't know, feeling ambitious. I don't know, ambitious is the right word. It was what do you call a buy that you don't plan on? One of those. But they were there and we're like, let's do it. So we're growing potatoes in buckets. See how that goes. This next row behind the buckets is garlic. I apologize if the picture, depending on how the picture turns out. I mean, it's there, but it's very sunny today, and so I don't know if it's the best day for filming. It's hot. It's like 85. Anyway, this is garlic. This is soft neck garlic. I got a whole bunch of different varieties of garlic last fall and just planted them all because I didn't know what to do. So this is soft neck, which I've heard is not the best for our area because it's so cold, but it has been growing. It's not growing as well as I'd hoped, but it's growing. Down here is hardneck garlic, which is doing super good. I have, 3 different varieties. This one is music, which is doing probably the biggest. This one is, I don't know, man, that one I don't know either. I have them written down, but I can't remember. One of them is like red harbinger or something. I couldn't pronounce it. I should have staked and labeled them, but I have it written down. Anyway, hardneck garlic is doing great. So, as you can tell, our garden is not your, I don't know, typical garden. We're going with a no-till method back here. The front we're still tilling because that's a lot. You'll see later. It's huge, and we haven't gotten with any sort of system down for back there, up there in the front. But this we're going with a no-till method. We created pathways that we put wood chips down on, and that just keeps the weeds down. Last year, we didn't have wood chips down. We just made mounds, and there's a lot of weeds. So hopefully the wood chips will really help us keep it down. And underneath the wood chips, there's a layer of cardboard to help mat out the weeds as well. This is I guess we created mounds. It's not super easy to tell. We created mounds. Now these mounds were much larger, but we filled in a lot of wood chips. So that has made it a little flatter, but there's still mounds because when it rained really bad, we noticed that water sat in here. So creating the mounds, it basically creates a raised bed, and then we don't have water sitting in on the vegetables. It sits in the walkways and then it soaks in, and hopefully that helps us with our water needs. Also, as you can see, we have mulched a lot with straw, which has been very, very interesting. Seems like it has worked quite well. Underneath the straw, when we pull it back, I've watered that We'll get to that in a second. When we pull the straw back, it's stayed very moist and just nice, soft soil. Doesn't get baked by the sun, which has been really nice. Definitely a lot more worms and things like that. This bed here, all the way up to the edge of that trellis, the hoop trellis, this is going to be squash or zucchini. I'm not entirely sure. One of those. I believe that was the case. Yes, because I think we're going to put zucchini on one side and squash on the other. I'm not sure which one was which, but I don't believe this one has been planted yet. This is our cattle panel trellis we're trying with T-posts. It is just super sturdy, and it should hold as much weight as we possibly need and not fall over. Underneath this, I believe on both sides, but we planted on this side, I believe is cucumber is going to trellis over this, which we've never done before, but hopefully it works out well. We'll go to this side. Super professional tour here. This is bush beans, 3 different types, a green bean, some sort of a purple bean, and I guess a yellow bean Tanya was interested in. So those just got planted a few days ago, direct seeded, so they haven't popped up yet. And we did mulch on top of them with the straw. I tried to make it as loose and fluffy as possible, so that it's not like a mat and hindering the germination, but it will help keep it moist. We're just waiting to see them poke up through there. This bed, I should get closer so you can see them. This is onions. This has been rough. Check out how sad these little onions are. We need to mulch around them, but I'm not sure what to do. We planted these. Down at this end, they're doing better. We planted these. We started these from seed, and then we planted these, I'm not sure when, it was still quite cold. It was before this last snow. So we planted them, and then we thought they died because they all just looked sad. And then they were alive again, and then it snowed, and then we thought they died, and then they were alive again. So we haven't had a third dying as of yet. I should probably water these tonight and maybe bring some compost out and do a layer of compost in between them real carefully to try and help mulch the. I don't know if maybe onions. I'm not sure if onions are a good one of those things you don't want to compost, like carrots. I've heard you don't want to compost around, but I don't know. They could use some mulch for sure. Next is tomatoes. So we're going with cattle panel trellis with these, but flat. As you can see, flat. Last year, our tomatoes were where the garlic is now on both sides, and we had just regular tomato cages, and we got a big storm where the wind blew across and blew all the tomato cages over, and they were just flat on the ground. So this year we went with something much stronger, we hope, and just require a little more training and maybe tying them up, and definitely some pruning, but we're hoping that the tomatoes do much better this year, or at least don't fall over. They did fantastic last year. They grew great. They were just a mess. So this side we have an assortment. We have some cherries, and we have sun gold. I'm not sure exactly. We have 2 of each, I believe. 2 sun gold, 2 yellow pear, 2 red cherries, and 2 of an orange slicer called Chef's Choice Orange, I believe. And then this whole side is Amish paste tomatoes for canning. making sauce out of. You'll see we started this trellis, what is this, like 8 inches a foot up off the ground, and we need to come in here and prune off these lower limbs, but we would like this only stem to be from here to here, and that'll keep better airflow underneath the plant. And I'm trying to remember if it was tomatoes. There's some sort of a fungus thing, I think, that when the rain hits the dirt, it splashes up the spores and gets on the leaves and messes them up. I don't remember if it was tomatoes or a different plant, but I've seen a lot of people do a trellis up off the ground and then prune them to help keep disease issues down. All right, moving on. On this side, we have amongst the straw, what are these, radishes? I believe these are radishes. Tanya likes radishes, and they're super quick to grow, so we're growing radishes. Oh, and a random bug-eaten, what is it, tillage radish? I was trying to cover crop them last year, there's still some left over. Anyway, this is some, actually I'm not sure what all this is. I think it's some cabbage and some broccoli. It's some extras from our other rows. I believe it was this one. They're doing all right. They're doing pretty good. We got them in the ground at the right time this year, so they're actually looking pretty good. The next row over is the same. It's broccoli that you can see. Oh, if it focuses. Broccoli. And there was a second row that was cauliflower, but it did not like, we planted these right before the last snow we had, and most things did good that were pretty cold hardy, but cauliflower did not. So maybe cauliflower is not as cold hardy, at least not the variety we had. This row here is cabbage, and we have a purple cabbage, and a regular green cabbage, and they seem to be doing not too bad. Some better than others. You can see we have some giant weeds. These are our most painful weeds so far. Dandelions and dock, whatever kind of dock that is. It's the most ridiculous roots. I apologize for the sniffing if you're hearing it. Spring allergies, no fun. Nothing in here yet. Can't remember what we're planting there though. This other hoop trellis is has peas on it. So I'm not even sure. There's one type of pea on this side. This is Tanya's too. I'm not really a fan of peas, but that's okay. Tanya likes peas. So we're doing I believe one of them is a snow pea and the other one's something else. So they're looking pretty good. We just got to get them climbing. Apologize if there's shadows. Oh, and underneath here, just as a quick thing, is more radishes. Little. Yeah, that doesn't show very well at all. There we go. Anyway, bright sunshine makes for hard filming apparently. All right, our last rows. This row, although you cannot see it from up high, is all carrots. We did an experiment with the carrots this year. We actually have pretty decent germination. As you can see, we did rows across. And what we did was we planted this very early, direct seeded it. There's more down here. We have some different, I believe we have some different types of carrots. We direct seeded this very early. I believe it was 1st of April, and it was like a plant it and it'll germinate when it's ready sort of deal, because carrots are pretty cold hardy. And they actually did really well. We had a lot of trouble last year germinating carrots, probably because we planted them too late, and they're very sensitive to moisture. So there's a lot of different methods and ideas for germinating carrots, but we went with this as an early season carrot and it seems to have worked. So we'll have to report back later and see how it's going. This bed is very exciting. I've just watered it, that's why it's so dark. This is asparagus. Check this out, little baby asparagus. So, for comparison, my thumbnail, it is really tiny. But hey, in 2 years, we'll have some asparagus to eat, and it'll be here for like forever. So that is the garden. It's making progress. We're getting places. We'll be planting more soon. We've got a whole bunch of peppers started, and anything else started? I think it's peppers we have left. We started a lot of this stuff inside, which you would have seen in some of my previous videos, although a lot has happened since then. You may have seen some things in the background that I haven't talked about yet. And I'll have to do a video on those individually because I think this one's getting pretty long. I should do one on the orchard up front as well. There's a lot of stuff happening up there. That one is just sort of a fly by the seat of my pants thing that we're doing in the orchard. A little bit. I don't really have a plan other than like a rough idea in my mind. So, all right. Well, I'm gonna call it a day on this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up and definitely subscribe if you want to see more stuff. See if I can get to doing this a little more frequently, and hope you like my crazy straw hat. So, all right, have a great day, guys.